Hi, I'm Bronwyn, and I'm one of the directors of 4T Consultants. I'll start by thanking you so much for reaching out to 4T to see if we could help you with your project. Now, rather than just simply offer you a menu of prices, I'd like to give you a short introduction into how we approach our work. To us, environmental monitoring is a bit like an iceberg. Clients will ask us for surface water monitoring or groundwater monitoring or river monitoring station or a report or some such. And it's a bit like looking at the top of the iceberg, the part that's above the waterline. Of course, those things are necessary. But if you go out and take a photo of the iceberg, it's really only about 10%. The true power of the iceberg is at the base. It doesn't matter how strong or in what direction the wind is blowing at the top, the iceberg will always move in the direction of the base, even if it's in the opposite direction to the wind at the top. And that's true when it comes to environmental monitoring as well. In fact, the conversation about environmental monitoring and reporting up here at the top of the iceberg is quite a shallow conversation. It's like, we give you some monitoring and reporting and you give us some money. But the more meaningful and important conversation about the environment is what's going on below the waterline. What does the real foundation of value look like down at the base of the iceberg? Immediately below the waterline is a sometimes less tangible part of the conversation, which is about results. From the perspective of 4T and our approach to our work, the real results that matter are 1, data integrity. Your data is clean, accurate, and truly representative of the on-ground situation. 2, exemplary compliance. Your current and future operations are completely compliant with the law, but also with community expectations. 3, safety and efficiency. Your contractors must be meticulous about safety, work efficiently, and not need you to constantly manage them. So let's just think about those 3 things. Think about what it would mean to you or look like for you if you had data integrity, exemplary compliance, and a safe, efficient contractor. What would that feel like and look like? So if we think about those 3 outcomes, they are critically important. And I'm sure that you will agree that those outcomes are what is valued. Yet, as important as they are, it isn't really just about those 3 things, is it? For us, we believe that every company or person who is responsible for our natural resources, like you are, deserves to use those resources, but with good stewardship. And that requires meticulous monitoring. Isn't that what you really want? So we put ourselves to work to create a framework, a really practical, logical, how-to framework that takes you through the process of becoming a valued and trusted user of our natural resources, whatever they may be, and reaching the level of value down there at the bottom of the iceberg. Here's a preview of that model. At the center is our client and our promise to you of meticulous monitoring. Around that promise are the 3 important outcomes that we deliver. And then the 3 levers we use to achieve those outcomes. Then for each of those levers, there are 3 accelerators used to make those levers work even harder. The 3 levers we use are systems, equipment, and training. The first lever is systems. We have robust and documented systems about how we do everything. The second lever is our equipment. Our equipment is not rented and unreliable. We have worked for years to design and obtain custom and dependable equipment. Our third lever is training. We don't just grab a graduate. We spend a lot of time and effort to achieve a highly skilled team that works together. Now the accelerators. Our systems are practical and field tested. We're not just doing things because that's the way everyone else does them. Our methods work in our conditions. They are best practice though. We follow all the laws, the guidelines and the standards and have overlaid that with practices that work in the harsh conditions that we encounter. Lastly, our systems are implemented and controlled. It's no use having systems if they're in a folder, on the shelf or on the computer and they're not being used by everybody every single day and being adjusted when necessary. Our training accelerators. We have our own internal competency standards. So nobody is allowed to be unleashed on a client unless they have completed these internal competency standards. It is our long experience that having a degree in environmental science does not qualify somebody to be trained and competent as required by the legislation. Degrees generally have very little, if any, fieldwork training. We use supportive mentoring. Every person that joins will be working with a senior for at least 3 months or even more before they are allowed to go out and do monitoring by themselves. And lastly, continuous learning. We encourage continuous learning for all our team. In fact, it's a KPI for everyone that they engage in continuous learning with the resources we have collected over the years. Our equipment. Our equipment comes from either highly reliable and highly respected manufacturers, or it's custom made for us and for the environments that we work in. Some of our equipment is manufactured locally, which has the added benefit of increasing local skills and keeping commerce within our local area. Our equipment is maintained fastidiously. We use our equipment every single weekday, so we're not just renting a second-hand machine that may not have been calibrated for 6 months or more. Additionally, all our equipment is intrinsically safe. We do work on many mine sites and on gas sites. It's therefore important, and also as a contributor to our overall concentration on safety and efficiency, that all of our equipment be both intrinsically and ergonomically safe. I hope this short video has given you an insight into what you could expect when working with 4T.